böceklerini karı var.
So which way will you're not lying, right?
Wait a minute.
can't see, so I thought some weirdo was filming me. I don't move because you can see. I'm moving. I'm just following you. I don't know what they seem to be taking their time a little bit. They're not going to fall into the middle. Yeah, no, not everybody gets on stuff.
We did it for somehow I ended up with all these kids though.
Yeah, it looks good.
God bless our veterans.
bring your along.
Color guards, attention! Parade rest. At this time, we'd like to do the invocation from Reverend John Jack Swanson. Reverend. Uncover!
Thank you, George. Getting the name right there. Anyway. CVL 28, later AVT 3, and eventually HMS Dedeldo, excuse my mispronunciation of Spanish. She was an Independence class aircraft carrier, light aircraft carrier, 9 battle stars, World War II, served in the Cold War, and went on for over 20 years service with the Spanish Navy. Was a gift to the United States by the Spanish government in 1989, and sadly funding fell through and she was scrapped tragically in 2002. Why I mention the Cabot is when post-war a young sailor who bootlegged clams in Howe's Neck and went on to be the mayor of the city of Quincy, Francis X. Macaulay, served on the Cabot. So I wanted to mention the Cabot today and Frank as a symbol for all veterans, those of the great and sad World War II, Cold War veterans like myself, Veterans Today. This is a day, this is not Memorial Day, this is the day we celebrate all who have worn the uniform of the United States. Well, good morning, and let's say a prayer together. Heavenly Father, bless these proceedings this day, Lord. Thank you. Lord, we are grateful, all of us who had the honor of wearing the uniform of our country. Thank you for our families that supported us, and thank you for the United States of America. God bless us all. Amen.
Cover. I'll follow up with that prayer. We want to send our thoughts and prayers out to Gold Star Mother, Mrs. Gargano, who's been in the hospital for a few weeks. Say a prayer for her today. Thank you. Color guards, bring your units to attention and present arms. At this time, we will now have the national anthem sung by Rebecca Morris, a senior at Quincy High School. Rebecca?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And now to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, we have the pleasure of having a proud fifth grader from the Atherton House School, Mr. James Raltz. Jim?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Troops, bring your units to order arms and parade rest. I'd like to mention today that the Quincy Veterans Council Commander Charles Hurd is a little under the weather and won't be able to make it here today, but his thoughts and prayers are going out, and he wants to thank everybody that's here today, including the veterans. Each Memorial Day and Veterans Day, the governor sends out the proclamation to celebrate that day. So I'd like to read Veterans Day proclamation for you right now. Whereas since the Commonwealth colonial days, thousands of men and women have served our country in defense of freedom and liberty. And whereas on November 11th, 1918, the armistice was signed in the Forest Campaign by the Allied nations in Germany, ending World War I, the war to end all wars after 4 years of conflict. And whereas since that day, every November, people from around the nation have gathered to honor our veterans. And whereas today we are reminded of the great sacrifices and contributions our veterans have made to our country. And whereas we honor and salute those who served our country throughout the generations with honor, patriotism, and courage. And whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts citizens remember the bravery of those who serve their country, so that their dedication and sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. And whereas in November 2021, the world will celebrate the 103rd anniversary of the armistice that ended the fighting in World War I at 11 a.m., November 11th, 1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Now I, Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2021 to be Veterans Day. And thank you. At this time, past Commander Heike Pakala will now give the greetings from the Quincy Veterans Council. Pakala.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for coming out here to celebrate our Veterans Day. The Lord has blessed us with a beautiful sunny day. He always seems to look out for us and keep an eye on all of us. So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And also our Commander, Charlie Hurd. Thank you.
I have to echo Heike's compliments to all of you for being here today. Thank the good Lord for the good weather. And I thank the mayor for all the influence that he's had in the weather and for everything that the mayor, as Quincy's #1 son, does and promotes for the veterans of this city. And here on Veterans Day, it is my honor and privilege to present to you the mayor of the city of Quincy, the Honorable Thomas Peacock.
Thank you, Nick. For the Gold Star families, distinguished veterans, my colleagues in government, Reverend clergy, it's certainly an honor and privilege to be here and represent the city of Quincy in honoring our veterans on this Veterans Day on the beautiful grounds here of the Adams Walk, a piece of property given by the Adams family to the city in 1885. And you know, you think about the Adams history and the story of Adams and Hancock, the Quincy families, Washington, Jefferson, Franklin, Monroe, Madison. They gave us the promise, but it was the veteran that was the muscle. And that promise has been sustained, the promise of freedom, the freedom of religion, freedom of speech, so many freedoms that we enjoy and perhaps take for granted when you look around the world and see what people are suffering. But that promise has been maintained by every generation of our veterans. Today we have some World War II veterans with us. Right behind me is the statue dedicated to our veterans from World War II. Gentlemen, thank you for your service. A little further behind me across the street is the Korean War Memorial. I know we have a number of Korean War veterans here. Gentlemen, thank you for your service. And of course, we have a beautiful Vietnam memorial out at Marina Bay. And I know we have a lot of Vietnam vets here today. I see the faces. To our Vietnam vets, again, welcome home. Thank you. The Persian Gulf, Iraq, Afghanistan, the war on terror, and everything in between, the veteran has stood for peace and tranquility for the world. It was Ronald Reagan that once said, peace through strength. Because as we know, we see it even today, the tyrants that run certain nations under the guise of communism or socialism, that truly is evil. So to our veterans, again, we salute you, we thank you. The people here today, the only thing they can do for you is to be present here for you. So on behalf of them, again, we say thank you. I was at the Marine Corps luncheon the other day, and as part of that tradition, yeah, happy birthday to the Marines. Part of that tradition is they swear in some new recruits. And there was a kid from Quincy High and a kid from North Quincy High, both of them at the convention center with 2,000 Marines in there getting sworn in. They looked nervous as heck, I can tell you. but the tradition continues here in Quincy. I'm so proud of our city. I want to take a minute also to acknowledge, not to embarrass them, but Tommy and Kathy Lester are here. His son, Sergeant Tom Lester, is with the 82nd Airborne and was in Afghanistan and witnessed the tragedy, the loss of the 13 sailor and Marines. In fact, Sergeant Lester actually worked on some of those kids. So we have Quincy kids continue to serve all throughout the world. So keep them in your prayers in the coming days. I'd also like to just take a moment, because Mr. George Nicholson, who has served as my Director of Veteran Services for a number of years, is going to be moving on to play some more golf. And he needs the practice, I can tell you that. But I just want to say, George has been a terrific leader for the veterans community. He did 3 tours in Vietnam, United States Air Force. He had a host of honors, including the Vietnam Service Medal with 3 Bronze Stars. After his discharge, after going to college, he's worked really 40 years helping veterans getting the benefits they need and deserve. And that was with the American Legion, and he was with the Boston Regional Office of the VA. And of course, he's the past commander of the Veterans Council, past commander of the Morisset Post, and as I said, been director of the Veterans Service here for a number of years. So I'd like to publicly thank George for his amazing service to our country, his leadership on veterans issues, and certainly been in my ear always to do the right thing for the veterans. George, thank you so much for your service. And I'm asking him to come back part-time to help us out. He's not completely escaping. So, again, thank you for being here. May God continue to bless this great nation, and may He watch over our veterans continuing to serve. Enjoy the day.
While the mayor's the major part of the approval of everything that we do here in the city for veterans, he's the right hand. But the rest of the head and the body that goes along with that is the Quincy Veterans Council. If there was room, I'd have all of them up here on stage for an introduction, but they'll be identified very shortly. But I would like, since I am parting, I'd like to issue my own special thanks, in addition to Mayor Koch, to the Quincy City Council for all the support they've been for all the veterans of this city, as long as there have been veterans in this city. And at this time, it is my honor to present to you the president of the Quincy Veterans Council, the Quincy City Council, Nina Liang.
Thank you, George. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of my colleagues, it is a privilege to join you today to honor those who have chosen to serve our country, often risking everything in order to protect the freedoms that we hold so dear. I'd like to recognize my colleagues in government who are joining me here today. I have City Councilor at Large, Noel DeBona, City Councilor at Large, Ann Mahoney, Ward 5 Councilor, Chuck Phelan, Ward 2 Councilor, Anthony Andronico, School Committee Vice Chairwoman, Kathy Hubley, School Committee Member, Doug Guttrow, and School Committee Member, Emily Lebo. We also have with us from the State Representative Taki Chan, and State Representative Bruce Ayers. We have joining us DA Mike Morrissey, and of course, our Sheriff Pat McDermott. So when I thought about what to say today, I struggled to find the words that I thought could adequately capture the magnitude of the sacrifices that our veterans have made for us. Words like gratitude, honor, pride, and much more feel too small to really reflect as how much I and others appreciate everything you have done. In the end, I realize that perhaps it isn't the size of the words, but the directness with which they're given. And so I want to say it simply, but directly. Thank you. Thank you for choosing to put your country first, often at great risk to yourselves. Thank you for believing in us, that we are worth fighting for. In times like this, when we see so much division and partisanship, I want to believe that we can come together to say a simple but profound thank you. Thank you, without rancor and discord, but with a deep and lasting appreciation that whatever our politics, whatever our beliefs, our veterans chose to put their bodies and lives on the line so that others would not have to. For those of us who have not had the privilege to serve, I want to encourage us to think about how we might honor their service and our part in our lives. What kind of country did our veterans fight for? Let's do our part to make sure that it's worth fighting for. Our veterans did their part. Let's make sure we do ours. And so to all of our veterans, let me close with 2 simple words. Thank you.
At this time, I will introduce the director in a minute, but before I say that, I was hired at the city back in January 2015 to work with George Nicholson in the office. I couldn't have had a nicer boss. Everything he taught me, which was quite a bit, really stuck with me. One of the things he did say to me was, you know, I've done 40-something years with the VA in the city of Quincy here, and he always said, I'm still learning every day. You will never know everything, George. But I looked at him and said, well, you know everything. But listen, it's going to be a big loss to the city as George retires, and I'm going to miss him very much. And thank you for everything you've done for me, sir, really. There goes my coffees in the morning. At this time, I would like to introduce the Director of Veteran Services to all of you. Please welcome George F. Nicholson, the Director of Quincy Veteran Services.
You know, I was thinking as I was sitting there during the invocation when Reverend Swanson was rattling off all those abbreviations and initials. I was not in the Navy, and the only initials I could come up with were OMG. Back when I went in service in 68, I just wanted to read this. This was something that a lot of us back at that time were read when we went into basic training. And it's this. And I think it's very appropriate here on Veterans Day. I am the American soldier. For the American people, my family, my fellows, my sons to come, I carry on. Born of explorers, colonists, hunters in deer skins, schooled in the wilderness fighting for the continent, I carried on for the rights of man. Wherever I was needed, whenever I was called, I stood and delivered. I came through. I was America on the march. And now today, here I come again, marching again at the same old job, same old brand new job, marching again with all free men. I am the ring of steel around democracy, the ramparts that you sing about. I am the citizen soldier, the nation in arms. I am the eyes of the cannon, the marching refrain, the brains of the tank, the nerves of the plane, the heart of the shell. I am the Liberty Bell, the salt of our youth. I am the fighting man of every outpost from Alaska to Hawaii, to Korea and beyond, from Panama to Puerto Rico, to Iceland and beyond. Whatever the need for the spirit of liberty, for the future we're making, I, the American soldier, am the shield. That kind of made us understand why we'd made the commitment that we did. In 1972, I was discharged after 4 years in the Air Force, and I had just left a background where I had had more obligations, responsibilities, and support at that point in my job than most of my age group peers would have had placed on them in their careers for a lot of years to come. By 1972, there was no longer much of a demand for us getting out with aircraft maintenance experience, as those slots have been pretty much been filled by our brother Vietnam veterans who got out earlier. I suddenly found myself back home in civilian life, no job, no prospects for same, no obligations other than to myself, and not knowing what I wanted to do and had no plans except maybe to use the GI Bill and get some college education. To almost all of you who are veterans, this must sound like a very familiar scenario. After a couple of weeks of readjusting to civilian life, I went to the JFK building in Boston to learn about some VA benefits and start my somehow job search. I followed the right signs in the wrong direction, and I ended up in the office of the Chip O'Neill's Boston Chief of Staff, a gentleman by the name of Jim Ferguson, who also happened to be the Department of Labor's Regional Veterans Employment Director. He was great to talk to because I had no idea how he could help me do anything when I had no idea what I wanted to do that would help him. In the course of our conversation, I mentioned that I had found almost all of the men and women I had ever worked with or for in the Air Force were an extraordinary group. And they, who to me had no peers or equal in my known life, civilian life, and I admitted that I wished that there was some way that I could continue to work with such a special group of men and women. Jim made a contact. The rest is history. I got my wish, and here I stand 50 years later, still assisting with and extolling the honor, the virtue, the courage, and the uniqueness of the American soldier and the American veteran. American veterans, they are 3% of this nation's population. They're the ones who have stepped forward and pledged everything, including their very lives, if need be, in their commitment to the freedom of their families at home and those around the world. And by the way, if you need any statistics, right now, there are just a little over 19 million veterans still alive in this country. The reality is, like myself, more than half of them are over 65. So if you don't see a few in the parade, you'll understand why. It's the American veteran who has seen firsthand the deprivations and lesser qualities of life that other people in other countries have, and are therefore more well-rooted and grounded than many of American citizenry in the appreciation and gratitude for all that we as Americans have and simply take for granted. It's the American veteran who has come back home and proceeded to build, to strengthen, and to preserve the quality of life in the greatest land of the free in the world, the United States of America. The freedoms that we all enjoy and take for granted are the legacy to us provided by the American veteran. Our legacy to the American veteran, in turn, must be to revere them for who they are, be eternally grateful for what they have done and what they continue to do, to provide for their needs and their welfare as they have done for us, and to educate and instill in the hearts and minds of every citizen in the United States, as well as other countries too numerous to mention here, that, to paraphrase Winston Churchill, if I may, never in world history have so many owed so much to so few. God bless you all. Now, I also now have the honor to introduce our guest speaker for today. Probably the only other one up here besides Reverend Swanson who understood all of those initials. Our guest speaker today holds a bachelor's degree in fine arts from the University of Utah, a master's degree in education from Regent University, and is currently attending the Defense and Strategic Studies through the Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island. And about this time, 13 years ago, our guest speaker entered the Navy's Officer Candidate Program, also in Newport, Rhode Island. Within a year, she'd gone from waitressing at Starbucks to being Officer of the Deck, Combat Systems Watch Officer, Engineering Officer, Anti-Terrorism Damage Control Officer, Electronics Division Officer, and Assistant Operational Officer aboard the amphibious assault ship, the USS Bataan. This was followed by an assignment aboard the ballistic missile defense destroyer, the USS Laboon, as Watch Officer, Surface Warfare Officer, Command Duty Officer, and Navigator. She then moved to a series of land-based assignments for the Navy Reserve, including director and command assignments in the Washington, D.C., Millington, Tennessee, which is the Navy headquarters, Suffolk, Virginia, and to her current assignment here at the Naval Operations Support Center in Quincy. Among her awards and decorations are the Meritorious Service Medal, Joint Staff Commendation, Navy Commendation Medal, Navy Achievement Medal, and various other unit, campaign, and service medals. It is my privilege and my honor to present to you the Commander of the Quincy Naval Operations Support Center, Lieutenant Commander Monica Renee, call sign Tomahawk Johnson. Commander.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Veterans Day to all of that serve who have served. Thank you for all of your dedicated service. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for having me here today, and thank you for everyone who's attending. Sacrifice. So when we look up the definition of sacrifice, it's the act of giving something that you want to keep, especially in order to get to do something else or to help someone. We as veterans, we raise our right hand and pledge to serve and defend the Constitution of the United States and all personnel. We commit to putting the safety and security of the citizens of the United States above our own. We sacrifice time with our families, friends, the ability to have children, our physical and mental health to ensure those we serve have the opportunity for safety, a full life, and to thrive. Some make the ultimate sacrifice, selflessly sacrificing their lives for the safety and security of our country. When we raise our right hand, we do so knowing there is a possibility we may not come home. We raise our right hand so others do not have to. We choose service above all else. The military provides us a family for those who do not have a family. It provides opportunity for advancement and encouragement for those who may not know what they are capable of. The military provides support and teaches discipline and accountability. It gives each member the ability to pursue higher education and challenge insecurities. The military is inclusive and promotes community, a community that is lifelong. You can see that in all of the amazing service men and women that are standing here today. Folks from the World War II, from Korea, from Afghanistan, from Iraq, and all between. Those American Legion representatives, the Veteran of Foreign War representatives, people from Team RWB and from Team Rubicon. Today there are less than 10% of the American population who are or who have served this country. Thank you for honoring the service members. I challenge everyone here to reach out to a veteran. Ask them how they are doing and thank them for their service. Years ago, I asked a fellow service member why they would go up to every Vietnam veteran, and say, "Welcome home." His reply was because they were not welcome home upon their return. So he makes it a point to go up to each Vietnam veteran, shake their hand, and say, "Welcome home." Welcome home to all those who have served and who have sacrificed. I challenge you to do the same. Our country and our people are in pain. We are struggling with COVID-19, political disputes, unknown financial concerns, job loss, and unemployment. The list can go on. I ask you, in honor of Veterans Day, to commit to service. Whether you are in the military, the government, civilian sector, or in schools or churches, commit to serve those around you. Serve your community. In the words of the former Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense, Mr. Colin Powell, perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. In the words of President John Quincy Adams, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Serve, lead, and be compassionate to all those around you. This is the best way to honor the service and sacrifice of all those who have worn and currently wear the uniform of the United States of America. Thank you again for this opportunity, this honor and privilege to speak for you today. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Color guards, bring your units to attention and present arms.
This time we'll now have Quincy Council past commanders Heikki Pakala, Steve Dunley, and George Bouchard escort our Gold Star parents for the laying of the Gold Star wreath. In honor of the sacrifice by our Gold Star parents and of all the men and women in uniform who've made the ultimate sacrifice, Vice Commander LaFleur, would you please sound taps? Order, arms. Thank you. Volleyed by the Marine Corps Leatherneck Society. Thank you, gentlemen. And now with benediction, I'm assuming you haven't run out of initials. I never knew you to do that. So, Reverend Swanson.
Judge, I forgot to mention that CVL Cabot was originally C.L. Wilmington. And my Navy assignment was RNCB 27.
OMG.
OMG, okay. CL means light carrier, CVL means little aircraft carrier, AVT is aviation training carrier. Anything else you need today? You said, okay, anyway.
I dare not.
Let's remember that all those initials, all those acronyms, and by the way, the Air Force has them too, what it all revolves around, though, is people, human beings, and a group that set themselves aside to serve others. Let's follow that example. In the book of Hebrews, it says we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. Therefore, let us keep the faith. Respecting all faiths, I close in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
George, you want to dismiss it? Yep.
Just wanted to say a few thank yous to our honor guards that are here today. We'll start with my beloved Cyril P. Morissette Post. Thank you for coming today. Squantum Post 382 down in Squantum. Thank you, guys. Post 95, the rejuvenated Post 95. Thank you for coming. Quincy's Finest, the Quincy Police, and Quincy Fire. Thank you for coming today. We also want to thank Commissioner Dave Murphy for all of his help, and Steve Zambruno here behind me for all of his help, and everyone that took part today. T-Pel, the mayor, city council, the mayor's office. So thanks to all of you for being here. What a wonderful crowd. So thank you so much.
One more.
One more. He's got me. See? He's still going.
I'm still the boss. Back off. Since this is the last one I'll do in this capacity, while we're thanking people, I would like to say a very special thank you to the entire Veteran Services staff that I've worked with all these years. George, who does a great job of coordinating these trades for us. Marianne McCormick, who's been my admin assistant for years. Christine Cugini, who's taken that place now. Beth Chencherek, an assistant administrator. They make my office run. I make it easy for them to look good when it comes to VA stuff. They make me look good with the rest of the things that we have to do in the office. I may be in charge of the office, but I don't run it. They do. They're the ones that always make it work. We may be the directors, but they're the mechanics. They make it happen. I could not have enjoyed the run that I've had without their help, their support, and their enthusiasm. To my Veteran Service Officer staff, thank you forever. And thank you all. Troops, dismissed.